joining us now. Troy Deeney. Good afternoon, Troy.
Hello, gentlemen. Very, very good. In good form at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. Just where it's all getting a bit loose. That's not a good sign, is it? 1 o'clock on a Monday, anything could happen. The Fernandes apology, Troy. We were quite interested in your take on that. Roy Keane went in two-footed on it, too little, too late. I mean, was there a period in your career when a manager you worked under got the sack and you felt guilty?
I feel like that's a loaded question from you, I'll be honest. Considering I had 19 managers, and there's a few times. I don't feel you can ever apologise. I think Roy Keane's absolutely spot on. You can't apologise after the fact. You need to show and deliver performances that are showing of one of Man United. I think to apologise after. Also, it's not straight after, is it? By the way, there's been 2 games since, so it's a little bit. I don't know. I feel it's a bit cheeky and a little bit of a slap in the face, actually, that you feel that you have to do that. And I'm probably thinking, is he being told to do that more than he actually wants to? Because normally players would respond, wouldn't they, on social media instantly, like, apologies, we let you down, or gutted for the manager, whatever it might be. But to do it a couple of days after, not for me, that.
No, I tend to agree with you there. We're hearing a lot at the moment, especially with City, but even with Arsenal and other clubs, injuries are really affecting results. What's it like when you're playing in a squad that have got a lot of injuries and you are fit and you're having to sort of cope with this? Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I thought there was more to the question.
No, there's no more to the question. That was just.
Sorry,
I always like to finish with a cough.
He does.
Like
he finishes with a cough. That's very much a trademark Andy move.
Emphasises the point. No, look. It's not nice when you lose players. I was at the City game against Bournemouth at the weekend. Bournemouth were excellent. Bournemouth were really good, and I don't ever want to make excuses. I don't think Pep did either. And Kyle Walker kind of did a little bit, short turnaround, etc., etc. But Bournemouth were excellent. I just think when you are in a situation when you lose players, you can't explain to people just how much of a drastic change that is in terms of your starting 11 versus the ones that come in. However, if you're fit and available, you have to step up. You have to step to the top of the plate and go, right, this is why I'm paid the big bucks. This is why I'm the best player in this position at our football club currently. So you have to step up and do more. Injuries are part of the game. No one's going through a season unscathed. And you see people are adjusting and figuring it out. But you only ever see the people complaining about injuries when they're losing, I've found.
Yes, it's true.
It was interesting. I saw City's B team, if you like, with a few 18 players in there against Spurs last Wednesday. And effectively, they play in exactly the same way. They played some lovely stuff. They did lack a cutting edge, but they do have this system where everybody's coached in the same way and players can step in. They're never going to be as good, but they certainly play in the City way, but, at the top level in the Premier League.
Did you see who we didn't bring on off the bench at the weekend? Just Kevin De Bruyne, who was out warming up for the whole game.
But I think he must be so frightened of losing him. I mean, there must come a point where he's going to have to take that chance, though, Troy, surely.
Yeah, exactly. But if you put him on the bench, then it allows for people like us to ask the question as to why he didn't get him on, why take him in the first place. Savidio, again, we spoke about it on air, but my God, went off crying on the stretcher and was on the bench 2 days later. Sometimes you have to question the validity of all of these injuries, and they see someone like Rodri who went down with what could potentially be career-changing injury. He goes down, and that's a massive situation. But now we're getting players go down for a few days. They're crying. Everything's hurting, and sometimes you have to, pardon language, step up to the plate and man up a little bit and get after it.
Yeah, we want to talk about Chris Wood. And what he's doing at the moment
Yes, but for so long he's been a very, very good player, of course, at a lot of clubs, but he's in a sort of golden streak now. I mean, you any idea why that happens and how that happens to a player?
Manager played to his strengths, so they get a lot of crosses in the box. They also make him feel part of the team. I think if you remember last season, they were playing with the other striker whose name's got out of my head, the Nigerian striker.
Yeah, 1 year.
Yeah. They were leading more towards him. You know how football is, well, a little bit ageist, aren't we? We like to think anyone over 30 should be signing on and getting on with things. I think Chris is now at a point in time where he feels good, he's enjoying it. The team's playing to his strengths. Also, Morgan's Gibbs White is a perfect fall for him. He can do a lot of the running in front of him and add that little bit of quality. And now, dare I say it, defenders don't defend like they used to. They don't put their bodies on the line, and Big Chris can come through and get his head on things. So that's what he does really, really well. So fair play to him, and long may it continue. It's good to see teams doing things a little bit differently. I think Nuno, he's getting some credit finally for not always playing out for the back and playing this under-23s football, actually playing football to try and win with what he's got.
What is impressive is the different sorts of goals. He scored that lovely goal on the turn the other day. You're right, he's got his head on stuff. He's chased lost causes. He's attacked the space. He's scoring lots and lots of different goals, Troy, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And he's an old-school striker. He's physical. He gets about, but he's still technically good enough to still be there. So he can score right foot, left foot. You name it. But I think when you see a lot of his goals, they come down to desire. A lot of it comes down to he wants it more than the other guy, whether that be with his head or chasing lost causes, as you just said. So for me, it's excellent to see. And for young people, we keep talking about the death of the number 9, but you still got him going. You still got Vards going. So they're in situations where you can see the different ways to do it. You don't always have to be, Haaland. Yeah.
And finally, we saw a goal the other day in the Southampton-Everton game where Beto hit the bar and the ball immediately went up the other end, and Southampton scored the winning goal. I was wondering, Troy, could you ever think of a game or a situation in your career where it looked like a team were going to score a goal and the ball went up the other end and somebody scored a goal? I thought of you straight away.
Yeah. A little bit more dramatic, unfortunately, our one was. But I think in the sense of where both teams are, if Everton would have scored, it would have been great for them. They'd have been on a roll and probably would have caused them, a nice big gap, which they want moving forward. But I still think that striker situation for Everton has been an issue for years now, that they've never really got figured. But then as for Southampton, massive, massive win. I've been there in the Prem when you're chasing that first one. The noise gets louder and louder, and now they've done it. Hopefully, they can start to grow into it. I still think they're very naive, and I still think they could cause a lot of problems for themselves. Yeah. But in this moment, while we'll hammer them, let's give them some credit, and fair play to Russell. They've got their first victory.
And a quick word for your old mate, Tom Cleverley. Big win for them at Sheffield Wednesday. 6 goals for Watford.
Yeah. You know what? He had got a real bad reputation away from home, but they've been missing so many chances, one-on-ones and things of that nature, and penalties and stuff. So to have Bayo go and get 4, who's probably been at the forefront of missing a lot of chances, and then obviously, getting 2 penalties always helps. So one big game helps. We're still remembering that 3-0 loss to Luton, if we're being totally honest. So, need a few more of them to level it out, mate, hopefully. But fair play to you.
Good stuff. Cheers, Troy. We'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers, lads.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons, 1 till 4. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.